Miss Robin here. I'm feeling guided to express about what's come up for me yesterday and this morning. It's coming out of a deep experience of unconscious guilt and hatred coming up to the surface to be looked at. I'm feeling inspired to express about that and share what's coming to mind. Yes, I thank you, Holy Spirit, for this opportunity. Thank you for using my willingness. And thank you for working miracles. So, I felt so high yesterday. I felt so inspired and was in just this state of trust and feeling that strength of God and that I'll be taken care of and that I feel so inspired, and then it all started to crumble away. One little trigger after another just snowballed into this deep falling into, or really, I've called it a falling into in the past, like I'm falling into a hole, but I'm experiencing it as it's the opposite. It's the unconscious guilt just being thrust into awareness. It feels like I'm falling into something because it's so dark and so all-encompassing that it feels like I've fallen into something, but I see and I'm experiencing through this process today that it is the unconscious guilt being flushed up into awareness that Jesus in A Course in Miracles tells us about. He tells us that this process needs to happen. This is required if I'm to claim the peace of God. So it's, this deep, deep unworthiness. This deep unworthiness coming up that I don't want to look at. I don't want to look at. It is a blessing to have these things come into awareness. I feel it is certainly not the first time, but it's been a little while. I've had a lot going on in life. Getting ready to come to Utah to Camas co-living with Living Miracles. Now that I've been here just over 2 weeks, it's the fears really coming to the forefront, and the ability to hide that and cover that is falling away. And while as I've stepped back from the emotional aspect, the emotions are kind of fading on this whole experience. This is why it seems so difficult to give up these tendencies to people please, to compromise, to not stand up for inspiration and to live in that way. The guilt that underlies the facade of the false self, this character I'm playing, is so extreme. It is so deeply buried. And so when it starts to flush up, all I want to do is run away. I spoke with a mighty companion last night, and I felt that things were kind of passing. This deep sense of unworthiness that I can't receive, that I'm doing this spiritual practice, this journey wrong, that I am destined to be exposed as a fraud and a failure and worthless and undeserving of love. Just came into full awareness yesterday, seemingly in the guise of an expression where somebody expressed a grievance, belief about Robin, this role I'm playing, this character. Came in the form of posting starting a GoFundMe campaign to help support my time here so I could focus on mind healing and living out of inspiration rather than becoming more distracted in the world. I felt so inspired when I posted that stuff yesterday, and I put it out on Facebook, and I made a video to introduce it and just speak to where I'm at. I felt so good. It was like, wow, you're so beautiful, Robin. Wow, this is so great. And all this unworthiness just crashed in, questioning whether it was guided, just questioning every aspect of it, and not being able to hold on to the trust and the peace and the inspiration that I had felt. So it's this extreme contrast experience from feeling so inspired and in the trust, and I'm in the zone, I'm aligned with the truth, and then it's like, oh no, I'm not. No, I'm not aligned with the truth. These thoughts are so painful. These beliefs are so painful. But I just, there's nowhere to run here. There's nowhere to run. And so it just kind of snowballed into this crushing experience of really getting another clear look at the death wish in the mind that has caused this whole world. And the experience that it is mine. This hasn't been done to me. I'm not a victim of God or anyone else. It's just me. It's my choice to hide from love being played out in my experience. It's given me the opportunity to get another clear look at that death wish, that wish to just run away from these beliefs, these crushing beliefs that I'm eternally unworthy. I'm eternally blockaded out of love. And the pain of looking at that deep in the mind is so extreme that what else can you do but project it out into a world that seemingly is separate from me? It makes perfect sense. I see it very clearly. This is really a gift, but man, being in those thoughts and being so seemingly far removed from peace is just the most disorienting, crushing experience. It's very humbling, and it's really terrifying. Really terrifying. So I guess I'm just here to expose all of that and share and let God's will be done through me. Share this experience. I think there's a call to fully expose this process and accept that this is the way the process looks. The process of awakening is not going to look acceptable. It's not going to look the way I'd like it to. I'd like to appear here that I have my shit together, that I have my spiritual shit together. I'm coming to accept through this experience that won't be possible. I need to let that go. So I'm willing to let that go. I can't continue to project my guilt, this deep unworthiness that's come to the surface, this wish to die, this wish to run away. I can't continue to project it if I hope to find lasting peace. I have to take responsibility for my state of mind and remember to choose again and hand this over. And so I appreciate the opportunity to do that. And this death wish is no joke. It's no joke. It runs very deep underneath everything else I think is going on with me. Anytime I'm afraid, anytime I'm frightened or frustrated, I'm just trying to bury this unworthiness. I have no choice but to let it out. And it's going to look ugly. I feel ugly. Like not in the body, but in the mind. It's just like, wow, I feel like a mess. But, all the great teachers tell us this, it's about a falling apart. Allowing what I think I need to hold together to fall apart is required of me. And the deeper I go into this experience, seemingly the more messy it becomes, and the more out of control I can feel. And I just pray for the strength to welcome that, to accept the process as it is. I pray for the strength to step back and listen and follow. Because I really have a lot of doubts about really how much I'm even giving over to Spirit right now. I think I've been covering a lot. And I just don't go within enough to have a consistent experience of peace. I want to lay on the altar that expectation as well. I'm supposed to have a consistent experience of peace right now. Tends to trip me up, and I get caught up in this unworthiness and this belief that I'm a spiritual fraud. I don't even know what that is, but I believe in it. Yeah, I believe I'm supposed to look differently. So I offer all this to you, Spirit, for the letting go. These are the gifts I have to offer right now. And coming back to this, as the emotion fades, there's this gratitude coming in. I'm grateful that I can look at this. I just pray I'm looking with Spirit so it can be released. I choose again. I take this opportunity to choose again, to choose love, to choose to receive a reinterpretation from my inner guide, who's got this all figured out for me. It's just so terrifying to realize just how fully I need to let go. It's truly terrifying at times. It doesn't seem to be a relief. It's not welcome. I think I'll welcome it, and then this desire to die comes up from the deepest level of my mind, and it makes perfect sense why nobody does this work. Really. Nobody really wants to do this. I don't want to do it. I want the freedom, and then the process really kicks in and goes in deeply, and it's like all I want to do is run away. fantasizing about getting in my van, packing up my shit, and just run to my mommy, where I won't have to face this as much. I can delay, I can, use all my distraction mechanisms, I can use drugs if I want, I can isolate, I can hide, and I came here to undo all of that. So I know this is perfect on a deeper level. Fuck. Really looking at the wish to die is really painful. And I see it manifested everywhere around me in the world. This inner condemnation seems to come from outside of me. Oh, somebody else is condemning me, something else is triggering me. But it all leads back to my choice to believe that I'm separate from eternal love. That's really what I want. I just want to be home. I want the experience of eternity that is lasting. I don't want to bounce in and out. I don't want to bounce from feeling so divine and perfect to just crashing so hard. I resist these up and down experiences. And I'm willing to accept if that's what it needs to look like, then I accept that. I'm willing to accept that, Holy Spirit. But I can see why there's so much resistance. It makes perfect sense why I project. The guilt is so extreme. It had to be buried. The need to just get rid of it, just to pretend it's not mine. It's somebody else. Somebody else. It's something else. Something else is bothering me. There's always another reason why I'm upset. But A Course in Miracles is very clear on that. That is not true. That's deception. That is self-deception. I just see it so clearly. So I'm very, very grateful for the opportunity to go deeper, the opportunity to choose again. And although there's this belief that it's unsafe to allow this to occur, this pain to come up, this anger, shame, here I am. I'm still here. I'm still here doing my best. I'm still here talking to you, whoever you are. I'm still here. I'm still in it. I'm still willing to keep going, even though, fuck, I want to run away. It's so intense. But there's no turning back. I'm feeling a greater commitment, a greater willingness to not compromise, and to just go straight for the inspiration. Go straight into what actually is helpful. And that's listening to the deepest part of my heart and mind as best I can. And letting it teach me, letting my inner guide teach me and help me. Learning to accept help. because there's really nothing in this world that's going to help me. The only thing it does is show me my mind. It shows me what I really believe about myself. That's very clear. And even though it's unwelcome in the moment, these bouts of painful upset, if this is what's required, and it must be what's required, then I'm in. And I'm just going to keep falling apart. And letting my defenses go. So used to defending, man. So used to putting up that barrier. And using all my energy to keep that in place. Instead of spending my energy, my precious mind energy, on upholding the truth. Yeah, I'm feeling inspired to acknowledge a shift that I'm aware of in the mind. It's just really come in the last maybe a couple weeks, and the clarity of it just came in for me. I was lying in bed this morning with this death wish so clear in mind. The pain of it, the pain of just wanting to just fall asleep and never wake up. That's the ego. Pain of just wanting to just chop my head off, thinking it will stop the mind. Of course, is not true. But even in the midst of that, there's this deeper knowing that this is the process, and that this is the answer to the prayer that I offer up to Spirit. I ask for healing, and then the darkness comes, and I say, wow, I'm not supposed to be feeling this. I'm supposed to be peaceful. Peace is what I want. But there's a deep understanding. There's like a flip that's happened. It's like a flip that's happened in my mind, where at the deepest level I used to experience the darkness, and then on the surface there was this kind of mask, or this kind of phony, I'm fine, everything's good, I can manage this, manage my life, manage my emotions, manage my thoughts. And then deep underneath there was this darkness and pain and self-loathing that I perceived was underneath what was kind of happy and peaceful. And I realized there's been a flip in my perception of that, my awareness, to where the pain, the ego thoughts, the fear thoughts come up. But I'm aware of this deeper knowing underneath that it is perfect, and that I am in the right place, and that everything is going according to plan. It's just not my plan. It's a plan that I'm not aware of. And that flip signifies the foundation, the solid foundation that I'm working from now. And wow, man, that's significant. That's significant that foundation is there. And that I can perceive it. I can feel it. I can sense it. It's there. As these dark thoughts come up from the unconscious mind, I'm aware that, okay, Spirit gave came in with the song last night, Riding the Storm Out, which I really am not a big REO Speedwagon fan, but ride the storm out. Just write it out. This is what it's going to be. Okay. So that deep trust is there as the foundation instead of only perceiving the darkness deep in the mind. It's like below the darkness, beyond the darkness, there is the solid foundation of the love of God, the universal love that supports this whole process for me, that holds my truth in place forever for me, even as I forget and even as I work through these feelings and let them come up. That's amazing to me, to have an awareness of that. So I'm grateful for that as well. There's also the realization that if I was holding it all together and la 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 la, you know, I'd be in way deeper denial. And I don't want to be in denial. Denial feels good in the moment, but it doesn't get me anywhere. It's just a delay tactic. So the willingness I've offered to Spirit is being used. And I'm grateful to be able to stare these dark thoughts, this deep wish for death in the face and say, I'm willing to choose again today. I'm willing to let go of that dark thought. I'm willing to withdraw my investment in fear and death and reinvest all of my focus, all of my intention on the truth. I'm willing to keep going. I'm willing to keep diving in. And there's a miracle behind this. And I'm willing to receive it. I'm willing to receive the cascade of miracles that is sure to be just behind this seemingly dark puff of nothing. Thank you so much for joining with me. And I give all of us permission to fall apart and to allow something truly loving, a loving presence to show us who we really are. There really isn't anything to fear. Yeah, we can fall apart. They are just thoughts. And I'm safe. Thank you so much.